Two examples of the Sukhoi Su-22 M4K for fitter. Su-22s, initially entering a racetrack pattern. They're currently positioning some way out to our left for this display, which is flown for us by Major Bartolomiej Mejka and Captain Radoslav Leszczyk. And the distinctive smoke trails in the distance highlighting the arrival for the first part of the two Su-22s, which I expect, if they're performing as they did in their rehearsal the other day, to demonstrate two different wing sweep angles. Cold War, this aircraft would have been of great interest to tacticians on the NATO side.
Absolutely right. My first tour in the 1980s was on the Phantom, their defence aircraft. We studied these aircraft in great depth. Unfortunately at the time, the information was sketchy. The photos were great in black and white, but it's fantastic to see them here today. Even better to have them as allies. I particularly enjoyed the guided tour of the cockpit yesterday. Real hardware, real Soviet bloc technology, but built for purpose and still flying, some 30 years old.
Indeed so. These aircraft were used across the Warsaw Pact and countries in the Soviet sphere of influence at the time. European users amongst the Warsaw Pact countries, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany and Hungary, as well as Poland. Continuing this racetrack pattern now as they run in for another pass. In the Cold War, the fitter would have penetrated hostile Allied Western airspace using high-speed, low-level tactics to try and evade enemy fighters. Low-level conditions, not least due to the threat of anti-aircraft fire. Contrary to what was common in NATO at the time, the intended Soviet tactic in the Cold War seems to have been these very large fighter bomber packages with fighter aircraft escorts, rather than the smaller flights that were common within NATO during that period. Soviet Su-17 fitters served in the invasion of Afghanistan, and later Russian examples were used in the war in Chechnya. The export variants, the Su-20 and 22, were employed in combat by Angola, Iraq, Libya, both throughout the 1980s and in the recent conflict in 20K version you see here, and the two-seat UM-3K conversion trainer. Today, they have 32 of them in service, 6 of the two-seaters and 26 single-seaters. All of them now concentrated at Strypin, where these aircraft come from, the 21st Air Base in northwestern Poland.
It's a cool breeze.
Now we see the two aircraft splitting for the next part of their display. And here we see something of the low-level capability of the fitter in a show of force, 480 knots, 500 feet. NATO, one of just two of the Soviet-era fixed-wing types built by Soviet manufacturers that were still in frontline Polish service, the MiG-29 that we've seen here in the last couple of sequences of the aircraft, being the other. The aircraft now performing what the pilots call combat turns. They'll be coming in for a simulated dive attack. Is very powerful, and the payload is completely comparable with modern aircraft. 4 tons is pretty much enough to make a mess of anything. So they perform surface maritime missions. Tactical recce is also an important undertaking for the fitter. So Poland's new Lockheed Martin F-16C Fighting Falcons are now taking over that role with far more modern equipment at their disposal. Now, after some afterburning turns and a few rolls we saw there, we now see the fitters positioning, and we see them at slightly closer quarters for a number of missed approaches. They're selecting those best conditioned to do the work on, and these aircraft fly on in Polish service until around 2024 to 2026. Their roles during that time will be used to assist training Polish forward air controllers and air defence units. demonstration of these veteran aeroplanes that actually the fitter didn't in fact cease until 1990. Nonetheless, by that time, the aircraft was beginning to become somewhat outmoded, particularly as the Cold War came to an end. Nonetheless, an outstanding platform and superb service of the Polish Air Force for many, many years. Hopefully not for last time. You see the aircraft here. The leader coming in to land, Major Bartłomiej Mika. See both aircraft, of course, streaming drag chutes. And there, as the aircraft turns final, another indication of those smoky engines. And you may have noticed during the display as the reheat was lit, the smoke disappears. That's because of the more complete carbonisation of the fuel. And the tactic used by aircraft at about 10 miles, they light in reheat. 10 miles going against another reversers to reduce the ability of the enemy to pick up the solid background. I'm sure very relevant landing Cold War era, which these aircraft hail from. Second of the pair in the hands of Captain Radosław Leszczyk coming into land, completing their sequence. But the two Sukhoi Su-22 M4K fitters of the Polish Air Force from the 40th Tactical Squadron at Swidwin. Certainly amongst the most charismatic aircraft we've seen